focus on this letter now that the White House sent. We've been expecting it for over a week now, haven't we? I mean, that's the irony here. They've been preparing. We've been told, I think you've been on this program at this very hour saying any minute now. Right. Now they're here. What took them so long?
That's a really good question, and I can tell you that inside the administration, there was a sense of what is taking so long. Let's get this letter out. Broadly speaking, Chuck, this is essentially the White House's argument for why they are not going to cooperate with Congress. So you could make the case that they wanted to make sure that every I was dotted and every T was crossed. Let me just give you some of the top lines here. One of the headlines is that they are trying to argue that, quote, your inquiry is constitutionally invalid and violates basic due process rights and the separation of powers. That speaks to their argument that the House needs to hold a full vote before opening an impeachment inquiry. Now, of course, as you know, Chuck, as we've discussed, there's nothing in the Constitution that requires the House holds a vote in order to open an impeachment inquiry. However, of course, in the past, we have seen that happen. The White House also arguing the invalid impeachment inquiry plainly seeks to reverse the election of 2016 and to influence the election of 2020. This is an argument that I have heard quite a bit here behind the scenes. The administration trying to make the case that, look, the people voted. Let's have them have their say in 2020. Let's let them decide what they think about this Ukraine call. Here's the top line of this letter, Chuck. I write on behalf of President Trump in response to your numerous legal, unsupported demands made as part of what you have labeled contrary to the Constitution of the United States and all past bipartisan precedent as an impeachment inquiry. As you know, you have designed and implemented your inquiry in a manner that violates fundamental fairness and constitutionally mandated due process. Now, I have been trying to get them to lay out the legal argument for days, Chuck.
Okay, by the way, Kristen, I'm looking through this, too, while you've been reading. This is an elaborate press release. They don't really have a legal argument. And I think they kind of know it, but it appears to be dressed up in a political argument. They don't have any legal precedent to point to here that indicates anything that supports a single thing they've uttered.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. And as one administration official said earlier, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. And that's effectively what they're trying to argue here, Chuck. Sure. It is not clear that they have a legal argument that they're making. And so that may be part of the delay as well. We know that this was sent out by the White House counsel, but clearly the challenge here is explaining legally why they are not cooperating. They are daring House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to hold a vote. But it's a political argument that they're making, to be sure, Chuck.
Well, and the thing is that they're basically saying that Congress has no right to ever investigate the president. I mean, this is not a winning legal argument, but I guess they're trying to make a political argument, and that's a whole other story.
They are, and they see this as an effective political strategy. Chuck, remember, this is what we have seen over the past several months of investigations. The White House effectively blocking requests for documents and witness testimony. President Trump lashing out on Twitter and effectively trying to cast this as an extension of the witch hunt. He thought that was effective. He obviously thought it was effective during the Mueller investigation, but a lot of his allies are not convinced that it's going to work this time around or that this stonewalling is going to work, Chuck.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.